What's the difference between a soul seeker and a root vegetable? A root vegetable can turn up. A soul seeker can't.
You should kill yourself now!
We are currently several hours before the end of the 3-week deadline. And by this deadline, after 3 weeks into Season 11, you have to play at minimum 10 games to avoid a points deduction. 3 weeks! You've had 3 weeks to play 10 games. That's more than enough time. And you've played 0. And I would maybe give that an excuse to, like, Hunters if they didn't play 10 games, because they literally only have, like, 2 players that play for their team, and their players are duo. So there's gonna be days where they're not available. But even they've made the 10 game requirement with 2 people. You have 10 people on your team. You've just spent several days trying to get the transaction through of signing LeBron Irving to your team, to add even more players to your team, and yet you still somehow can't even find 2 players available at one time to schedule a match against any team to at least get some games played to try and minimize the penalty that you're going to get. No, you're now going to get 10 points penalised. This team with 10 players who all actively join VCs and join public lobbies so we can try and get better and just play for fun, somehow doesn't know how to play competitively, doesn't know that they need to actually play in the league to be a part of it, and are now facing a 10-point penalty which is equal to 5 losses. So 5 of their wins will now just become a loss, meaning if they want to make the playoffs, they would need to get around 26 wins this season just to become like 6th. And the thing about this as well is, you can push this all on the team owner of Nurse. And to be fair, you wouldn't really be wrong. Nurse has a really bad habit at this point of not being the greatest of team owners. They did this last season, and I believe they did this towards the end of Season 9, where they didn't play a single game. Heck, I believe as well, if I'm not misremembering, Season 9, they literally said to everyone that they're not going to play for the first 2 weeks of the season. This isn't healthy. It's not healthy cramming all of your matches right before the deadline, because it means if you have to cancel a single game, or if you can't make certain days, you're just going to get penalised. And this is exactly what's happened here. At the end of last season, they were trying to do this as well, where they were scheduling right at the end of the season, trying to cram it all together, and still were cancelling games on opponents because they couldn't make it. If you know that you can't make it on some days, then you've got to try and schedule them earlier in the season so you can actually have a chance of making it. But you would think about the same time though, 10 players on a team. Okay, you might have a very incompetent team owner who doesn't want to schedule your games, but surely 2 players on that team have to rise up and say, oh, our team owner sucks. We're just going to schedule games without telling them and just make sure that we can at least try and get some games to minimize the penalty, or to try and reach the 10-game minimum. And we're just going to schedule them without telling our team owner, or just tell them and just schedule it anyway, just so we can actually play. Because at the end of the day, there's 10 players on this team. You minus Nurse, that's still 9 players who are now penalised and are going to end up having a poor performance this season for something which technically isn't their fault, because they've joined a team being promised they're going to get some game time. That's the main thing with this Seekers team. Nurses went to players and promised them game time in Division 1 to these up-and-coming talents. How can you promise game time to a player if you're not going to play a single game all season, and you're not going to schedule a single game? At this point, there has to have been some players in this team who should have just scheduled some games at this point against some teams. Because you can't just allow yourself, because this looks really bad for everyone on this team now. I mean, yeah, if you go and look at it now, Nurse, we've got 12 hours before this deadline as of this recording right now. And just yesterday, Nurse was going around to every single team, DMing them, asking if they could play. Do you not think it's too late? Everyone's tired of this bullshit. No one wants to be cramming games in for you. Why would we want to help you out knowing that In a daytime, you're going to get a point deduction because you are incapable. Why would we try and help you out by scheduling with you when we can't even play on those times you're offering just because you were incapable of scheduling it further in advance? I mean, heck, from my own example as well, you even asked us last night if we could play. And then, when we said we can't because Alberia's not available, you said, oh, just play without Alberia. Why don't you play without some of your team? Because you've still got 10 players, you have to have 2 available. Why don't you, at any point in the season, try doing that instead of telling us what to do? If you came to us like last week and said, can we schedule this with you on the 31st of August, but you asked in a week in advance, then teams would be more open to you. Teams would be much more open to Seekers if they tried in advance. But instead, you came out desperate the day before a deadline, asking every single team, begging, we aren't going to give you what you want. I mean, this is the real world. Like, if you try and expect everyone else to just bend down and bow down for you just because you felt like you don't want to listen and follow the rules and go to the guidelines, then that's tough. If you want some sort of reward, I mean, hey, you can have a gold star, you can have a you tried award. Because at least you were on the server playing games, at least a day before the deadline you tried to DM teams. It's more than the Miami Arenas did. But hey, it doesn't take much doing.